I think for me, it was my personal experiences. My father was killed when I was 3 years old, and he was in the streets, to be honest. And there's only two things that could come out of being in the streets, and that's either dead or in jail. And so he was killed when I was 3 years old, and then also just some dreams being deferred. I wanted to be a football player, and my senior year, my leg was broken. And then one of the number one things I said, that's been a huge lesson, is just my mother, seeing her work actually 4 jobs. Sometimes you'll hear about that and maybe a little exaggerated, but she actually worked 4 jobs from 6 in the morning to 3 in the morning, having 3 hours sleep, doing everything from driving a bus, working at a clothing store, taking care of patients in a hospital. And she also worked in a restaurant.
Yeah.
And I think the lessons that I learned was that I didn't have to follow the typical path that was kind of set for me, that even if a dream was deferred, that I lived in God's world, and maybe he had another plan for myself. But if I followed what my mother taught me and instilled in me, and I worked hard, and I really truly believed in myself, that there wasn't nothing that I couldn't accomplish.
Discipline is the root of all good qualities. But you have to absolutely apply it to things outside of just waking up early. It's everything. It's working out every day, making yourself stronger and faster and more flexible and healthier. Discipline is eating the right foods to fuel your system. It's about disciplining your emotions so you can make good decisions. It's about having the discipline to control your ego so your ego doesn't get out of hand and control you. It's about treating people the way you would want to be treated. And doing the tasks that you don't necessarily want to do, but that will help you or help your team. It's about facing your fears. It takes discipline to face your fears so you can conquer them. And that's what discipline is. Discipline means taking the hard road, the uphill road, to do what's right for yourself and for other people. It's so often the easy path that calls to us to be weak for that moment, to break down for that moment, to give in to the desire and the short-term gratification. But the discipline will not allow that. The discipline calls for strength and fortitude and will. It won't accept weakness. It won't tolerate another breakdown. The discipline can seem like it's your worst enemy. But the reality is, discipline is your best friend. It will take care of you like nothing else can. And it'll put you on that path. The path to strength and health and intelligence and happiness. And most importantly, it'll put you on that path to freedom.
Well, I think the one thing that discipline definitely does help you with is it helps you get things done. And when you get things done, when you actually do things, you have more success. If you have more success, sometimes a big part of success is just not being lazy and just doing it.
Yeah.
That's like 90% of it is just showing up. Get there and start working. Like, you're not going to feel perfect every day. If I only worked out when I felt good, I'd be a fat because there's a lot of days I don't want to do it. It's pretty much the same with everybody that actually gets good at something. There's got to be those days you push through, and they're probably going to be more numerous than the days you don't. And so the benefit of discipline in my eyes has always been that through discipline I get things done. I always say that I'm like the most lazy, disciplined person I know because I don't want to do it, but I always do.
I believe that self-discipline is the definition of self-love. That when you say that you love yourself, that means that you have behavior towards yourself that is loving. It's like you say to yourself, hey man, look, I know you want to eat that pizza and it'll be really good, but I can't let you eat that, man, because if you eat that pizza, you're going to feel like, and I love you too much to let you eat that. And I think the word discipline has kind of gotten a bad name. We think about it in terms of punishment. I'm not talking about discipline in that way. I'm talking about discipline in the sense that you forego immediate pleasure for the exchange of long-term self-respect. Self-love is when you say to yourself, man, look, I know you and that girl got a real connection. I know y'all vibe, but that's your girl's cousin. So I love you too much to let you do that. Self-love is, hey, look, I know you got a test on Monday, and I know you really want to go out with your friends. It's Saturday night, you want to go out, but if you fail that test, you're not going to feel good about yourself. I love you too much to let you go out tonight. Self-discipline is self-love. If you want to be happy, you have to love yourself, which means you have to discipline your behavior. The road to sustained happiness is through disciplining your behavior.
Today I want to share just one simple thought that comes from the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius. Aurelius ruled Rome from 161 to 180 AD, and he's considered to be the last of the 5 good emperors, but he's also considered to be one of the most important Stoic philosophers. And his book Meditations, which is considered to be one of the most important texts in Stoic philosophy, contains a passage that has a lot to say about self-discipline, and I think it might even be the foundation of self-discipline. So in book 5 of Meditations, Aurelius writes, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain of if I'm going to do what I was born for, the things I was brought into the world to do? Or is this what I was created for, to huddle under the blankets and stay warm? But it's nicer here. So you were born to feel nice instead of doing things and experiencing them? Don't you see the plants, the birds, the ants and spiders and bees going about their individual tasks, putting the world in order as best they can? And you're not willing to do your job as a human being? Why aren't you running to do what your nature demands? But we have to sleep sometime." Agreed, but nature set a limit on that, as it did on eating and drinking. And you're over that limit. You've had more than enough of that, but not of working. There you're still below your quota. You don't love yourself enough, or you love your nature too and what it demands of you. People who love what they do wear themselves down doing it. They even forget to wash or eat. Do you have less respect for your own nature than the engraver does for engraving, the dancer for dance, the miser for money, or the social climber for status? When they're really possessed by what they do, they'd rather stop eating and sleeping than give up practicing their arts. He's telling you to respect your choice of path in life enough that you consider it to be your very nature, to be instinct. Just as spiders and bees and ants get up every day and are driven by their instincts, so should you be driven by the actions that are demanded by your goals. If yesterday you decided you wanted to get up early so you could work on your goals, but now you're lying in bed and you feel all comfortable and you don't want to get up, then you need to focus your mind on your nature, on the path you've chosen, and let that override your current desire. Other aspects of the art of gaining self-discipline, like exercises for building grit or systems that commit you to things ahead of time, are important, but they take a back step to this one key insight. For Marcus Aurelius, respecting your work as your very nature and tailoring your decisions and actions in accordance with that was the most important part of building discipline. My parting thought for this short video is to figure out why you're doing what you're doing. What's the reason for it? And once you figure that out, consider that work to be your very nature as a person and tailor your actions towards that.
There's a bunch of people that will say, yeah, well, I have a family, so, it's a great idea for you to just go out there and go crazy. I have people to support. You need to listen. Stop saying that. Stop saying any of those things. Every single person who has ever done anything worthwhile or exceptional or difficult or extraordinary, anyone, whether it's great artists or authors or mathematicians or whatever the it is, everyone encounters difficulties. There is no easy road. It does not exist. It is impossible. Everyone has issues. If you have time to pursue a hobby, if you have time to do anything in your life, you can better yourself. And here's one way you never better yourself. When you come up with excuses for why other people are successful and you're not, that is dangerous. When you give yourself an escape, yeah, well, that's easy for you to say, you do this, you do, and trust me, everybody has a hard road. I wanted to jump out a window several times during my young life. I wanted to jump in front of a train and just end it because it's too much pressure. Not really, but you know what I'm saying, theoretically. We all go through hard times. We all go through depression. We all go through doubt and moments in your life where it's really difficult and you're trying to figure out what the your path is going to be. It's hard as shit, but that is what makes you a person. And those difficult moments are what build your character.
A good fight is just to be diligent and committed and disciplined, doing what you hate to do, but do it like you love it. Always testing yourself and forcing yourself to the limits. If you know you if you love women, then deny yourself that. That's what success in general is all about, sacrifice. From my experience, of any little success I may have had, just be willing to sacrifice, Unfortunately, sometimes you can't have fun accomplishing your goals. And when sometimes people don't have the determination, the will, and the steadfastness, the tenacity, they give in under the slightest struggle.
Whenever we go in the studio, I try to make something much better than the last thing I created, you know what I'm saying? So they're, in my opinion, a lot better than the last I produced. You know what I'm saying? It's just that. That's just something that I believe in. I believe an artist or a producer or whoever should try to top themselves every time they go out there, and that's what I try to do.